to today's video. We are back in my kitchen continuing to talk about nutrition. The last video I did where I talked to you guys about my macros, I received a ton of questions. So I wanted to answer a few of those questions and then also give you guys one, my favorite healthy dessert recipe that I eat probably 3 times a week right now, has 4 ingredients. And 2, I want to give you 4 to 5 steps on how you can help set your outcome goals and your behavior goals and what the difference is between outcome and behavior and how they go together. So first, let's kind of talk about where I am in the season and retouch on my macros. So right now I'm eating about 350 to 360 grams of carbs. Last video I said 340. This past week I was at about 350 to 355 every single night. I'm eating about 130-ish grams of protein and then about 60-ish grams of fat. If I feel like I'm still really hungry, I might bump that up to 65 grams of fat. What's gonna happen over these next few weeks is I have 1 week of high intensity training left, which is a lot of volume. So I'll continue to eat those macros for this week. After that, my volume is gonna go down, but the intensity is gonna go up. A lot of people will say, oh, your volume's going down, so that means you're gonna start cutting your calories, right? Because you're doing less. No, my body needs to repair and rebuild. So actually what will happen over those last week and a half as I prep for competition is I'm thinking specifically for performance. I will eat no less than what I'm eating now. I'll actually probably continue to eat a little bit more, and I will do that through competition. That's because I want to make sure I have the glycogen stores. My body is repaired, it's recovered, and it's ready to go so I can perform at my best whenever the workouts are released and we find out what we have to do for the CrossFit Games. So performance versus aesthetic. How do we know what's right for us? I think it's different goals. You have to know what your goals are, and that's why when we go into these goal setting steps, I hope they help you. Aesthetic might be changing up your ratio. So you might need to go into a little bit of a caloric deficit to, if you want to look super ripped and super lean. A lot of times it's calories in versus calories out. There is a lot of science that goes behind it, and it's not that straightforward. However, we might have to look at those ratios. So we might have to drop our carbohydrates. We might have to drop our fats, keep our protein moderate, or increase our protein, depending on what the goals are. That may leave us feeling like our energy isn't as high if we don't have as many carbs. So if I wanted to do the amount of workouts I'm doing daily, or potentially, hit some endurance stuff and I don't have that carbohydrate intake, my performance might suffer a little bit. However, I have the goal of aesthetics, so I know that that's what I'm working towards. Performance, on the other hand, I want to make sure that I'm probably eating whatever my total energy expenditure is, if not more. If I'm looking to to gain weight or to mass, I need to make sure I have the calories so my body can rebuild and repair, and it's specifically goal driven in that sense. So I think it's super important just to make sure you know your goals, and that's gonna help you determine whether it's performance versus aesthetic or how you should dictate whatever your macro and your calorie breakdown is. I think a really great example would be taking bodybuilding, for instance. That is something that they're going to be on a caloric deficit because they want to be as lean as possible by the time they get to their show. So that's something they're working over, probably a 16-week, if not a little bit longer span of slowly cutting their calories and slowly dialing in their nutrition so they are ready to perform on stage. And that is, when I say perform, it's from an aesthetic standpoint. They want their body to look a specific way, and they're fueling it a specific way to look that way. That's not something that they're eating that way 24/7 all year round. Same for me. When I'm going performance, I don't eat like this 24/7 all year round. I'm gonna eat like this for another 3 weeks, and then my macros will shift and change again. My carbohydrates are gonna come way lower, my protein and fat are gonna go up. And when that does happen, we'll make sure to bring you guys that video. So what does this mean for you guys? I think the biggest thing is that we learn how to set our goals. So outcome versus behavior, what does that mean? Outcome goal would be, I wanna lose 10 pounds. The behavior part of that that's gonna help you achieve losing 10 pounds is gonna be to stop eating when you're 80% full, or to only eat until satisfied so you're not stuffed. Another example would be, I wanna improve my squat, or I wanna add 10 pounds to my squat. That's the outcome. The behavior would be, okay, let's squat 2 to 3 times a week at various different intensities. Or third example, just in case those two didn't make sense, would be, I wanna sleep 8+ hours a night. Okay, well, to sleep 8+ hours a night, we need to have the behavior. So we need to, find a calming sleep routine to help us calm down 30+ minutes before bedtime, and make sure we're also winding down way ahead of 8 hours. So 8 hours doesn't hit, because as soon as our head hits the pillow, we're probably not gonna be asleep. So we have to instill those behaviors ahead of time to help us achieve the outcome. Outcome goals, I think, are, you know, sometimes influenced by environmental factors, things that maybe we can't control as much. So for instance, if you want to go to the gym but your kid is sick, or maybe your hormones are out of whack, or things along those lines that sometimes we just don't have as much control over, which makes us feel almost powerless in a sense as to, you know, we're not going to achieve that goal. That's where I like shifting things into behavioral goals. Behavior is kind of it's your dedication and discipline to a practice to achieve a task. So whatever it is, you have the behavior set so you can achieve it. For instance, I'm gonna work out 3 times per week. My behavior goal is 10 minutes, 3 times per day, wherever that's gonna be, whether that's at home, the gym, going for a walk, you can have that behavior and you know that that's gonna help you achieve whatever your outcome goal is going to be. So let's talk about how you guys can set your behavioral goals. There's 4 easy steps. Step number 1, write down the outcome that you want. Don't overthink it. Don't don't overthink it, and just make sure it's something that's realistic in the sense of like, hey, if you've never done a pull-up, let's not write down 50 muscle-ups in 3 months. Let's write down something that we can achieve, that is measurable and that is trackable and that we desire to achieve. Step number 2 is going to be to write down some of the skills you think you need in order to achieve the outcome. For instance, foundational skills. This doesn't have to be rocket science. It can be something super simple. If you're learning, for instance, or you want to have better time management, let's learn to use a calendar. Start to schedule your day, block in your time. Make sure that you're going to get all of the things in that day that you want to get in, and that's going to help you achieve the outcome. So again, it doesn't have to be rocket science. Keep it pretty simple. Okay, step 3, related to the skill that we just talked about in step 2, write down a behavior that will go with it, that will help you achieve your outcome goal. For instance, this could be the behavior for you if you want to work out will be walking through the gym doors. Or potentially, if you know you don't love getting up for early morning workouts, packing your gym bag the night before and setting it next to the door. Those things will help you instill the good habits, and it will help you with the behaviors to achieve the outcome goals that you want. Step 4 is do the behavior today, tomorrow, the next day, and just keep doing it. Consistent effort, hard work, a positive attitude, and patience will really pay off when it comes to setting goals and achieving our goals. I think the last piece to remember is that failure is part of the process. Too many times we focus so much on the end goal and we forget to focus on the process and the behaviors that we're changing and the patterns that we're changing and the habits that we're changing during that process that help us get to the goal. So I think it is important to set the outcome goal, but also really focus on the behaviors that are going to help get you to the outcome, and that will help us be dedicated, disciplined, and committed to achieving the goal so we can achieve it and also enjoy the process along the way. Now for the best part. So now that we've got through all of that, my goals right now are performance driven. So when I'm looking at food, when I'm looking at my meals, I'm looking at a carbohydrate, a protein, a fat. Like, that's what I'm looking at. What is that meal made up of? So I also want to make sure that because I'm fueling for performance, I want to fuel my body with the best foods so I can burn through them and I can feel really good. I don't want to fuel myself with crap foods because then I'm probably going to feel like crap during my workout. So one of my favorite things that I've figured out and that I've played with at home, and I think I've got it dialed into a T, is something that I like to call protein cookie dough. I love cookie dough, but if I ate a bunch of it every night, again, I would feel like crap. So this is my healthy version, and I hope you guys love it. So it's gonna start with 1 scoop of protein. I use a level 1 protein. I've tried it with different flavors. Lately, my favorite flavor is the level 1 ice cream sandwich from First Form, and it's delicious. So 1 full scoop is gonna get me about 20 grams of protein at night and an additional 140 calories. So that's really helpful if I haven't hit my protein goals throughout the day to know that I can get that in. Next piece, we're gonna start with our PB Fit, and I only do 1 tablespoon. So that means it only has 1 gram of fat because my fats are pretty low throughout the day right now. So I look for options that taste good that are also low in fat, so I get more carbohydrate and more protein. So 1 tablespoon of this is gonna have 1 gram of fat and it's gonna have 4 grams of protein. So already I'm at 24 grams of protein between these 2 things. Then I'm gonna go 1 tablespoon, 1 to 2, depending. If you add too much almond milk, you'll probably need to add more of this. I try to keep it right at 1, and it's a sugar-free vanilla or chocolate instant pudding mix. So I'm gonna dump that right in. And again, I think it has 6 grams total carbs per the tablespoon. So not a lot of calories, not a lot of carbs. Then from here, I wanna add a pinch of salt. I always forget my salt. You don't have to add salt, but it's gonna bring the flavors out. So you just wanna add a nice pinch of salt. Then I'm gonna grab a spoon. Forgot that. This would not have worked in my mug, so let's use my spoon. Before I even add the almond milk, I'm gonna mix all of my ingredients together just to make sure it's well mixed. So I've got my ingredients in there, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of almond milk. This is gonna be to texture. Everyone always asks me how much I add. I really have no idea. I just kind of know the consistency that I want it to look like, but I would say probably around 2 tablespoons to maybe 1/4 of a cup. So just adding just a little bit. And I usually start small because once you add too much, you can't go back. So just make sure you start small and you'll keep adding till it gets nice and smooth. Then I'm gonna mix. All right, so you wanna keep mixing, and it should come out to be like a nice thick consistency. See, it's not runny, but it's not thick, and it's delicious. It smells amazing. If you want to, add a couple mini chocolate chips. This is usually my Friday go-to when I feel like it's been a long week and I've really, really, really earned it, and also just to change it up. But then it's nice and thick, and it kind of tastes like protein cookie dough. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, the macros were about 24 grams of protein, depending on how much of this you used, 10 grams of carbs maybe. And it's just super awesome. You can also put it in the fridge to chill it, and it's just gonna satisfy you, and it's gonna help us prevent ourselves from eating a container of ice cream or donuts or things like that. And we're still working towards our goals to help us achieve whatever macros that we have, or to help us feel good. And that's really the biggest thing, is invest in your health so you feel really good. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take something away about goal setting, realizing that it's all about what are your goals. Everyone's gonna do something a little bit different when it comes to nutrition. Set your goals and work from there. That will really help give you some guidance. And 2, I hope you love this recipe. If you make this, please tag me. It is literally my favorite. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice I make it probably 3+ times a week. It's absolutely delicious. If you add anything other than chocolate chips, I'd love to see that too. That's the only thing I've ever added. Other than that, if you like the video, please smash the like button. It really does help our channel, and I look forward to bringing you guys more fun stuff like this. Comment below with anything else you want to see. Have a great day.